I'm Issac Getz. I'm a professor in this ECP Europe Business School. I'm a co-author of a book, Freedom Inc., and also a public speaker on the issues of freedom and responsibility in corporations. Well, my topic is the topic that comes out from my research on Freedom Inc., and I'm interested in the organizations that in which I call them Freedom Incorporated, Freedom Inc., in which basically every employee is free and responsible to take any actions that he decides are the best for the company. And I studied this company in the 5-year research effort together with Brian Carney, my co-author, and the whole talk and book and the talk I will give about is how do you build such companies.
Any company's, any organization's success critically depends on how engaged are its employees. Now, what do you think? What is the percentage of employees that are engaged in companies? What is the percentage of employees that wake up every morning and spend their day smiling because they can implement their ideas and their initiatives in their companies? Well, that number is 27%. They are like the roosters. You put the rooster in the yard, he doesn't wait for instructions, he just goes enthusiastically and energetically for work. Now, there is another category. These people come to work to basically accomplish 2 actions per day, clock on and clock off, and they exchange hours for the paycheck. Now, sadly, these people are 59%. They are a little bit like a tired dog. He'll do what he's told to, but don't expect him to do anything more. Now, you are very good here at math, and so you counted that we're missing 14%. What is this mysterious category? They are actively disengaged. These people come to work so unhappy that they are spending their days a little bit like these foxes, sabotaging the work of their engaged colleagues. Now imagine a company as a rowing boat. Imagine that 2 guys in the front rows, they are extremely energetic, engaged, they are rowing strongly. The 5 other guys, they're making splashes, so you think they work. And the last guy, remember, actively disengaged, extremely energetic too. But how is he rowing? Backwards. And now you wonder why your company is not showing great results. That's the average data. Now, think that you have this 59% and you have this 14%. And this amount, this all people all together, they are here today, but were they like that the first day when they started to work? Something happened to them between then and now. What I will offer to you is a different future. I will offer you a future in the company when you can stay engaged and smile throughout your career. I will show you how you can liberate your company in 3 steps. To start, let me take an example. Somewhere right now, an employee is entering his boss' office with this sentence: "Boss, I have a problem." "Phil, I've read your email. I know you have a problem. Look, you should do X, Y, and Z. And by the way, do it by the end of the day, because I'll pass by office to see if it's done." Well, what did I do? By providing the solution to my employee, first of all, I took monkey off his shoulder. Now I own the problem. I own the monkey. By the way, very soon I will have the monkeys all over the place. I will have monkeys here and there, all over the place. But I did something else. I, in fact, created a disengaged employee. Because by providing my solution, I didn't trust his brain. I didn't trust his capacity to think and find his own solution. Now there is a different way. I could, in fact, ask him, say him, you are the most competent person in that area. If you take a little bit of time, I'm sure you'll find the solution. And by that simple act, I would show that I trust his brain, that basically I consider his brain as intrinsically equal to mine. And that is the first step of liberating your company. It's building an environment for intrinsic equality. By the way, a company like Harley-Davidson used this principle to move from the situation where they were losing dramatically market share to Japanese competitors, and they were 3 months before going bankrupt, to become a leader again in heavy bikes, and created such a demand that there was 1 year of a waiting list for their bikes. So what did they do? Basically, they decided to turn their employees who were complacent and simply waiting for orders to those who will be trusted to take initiatives, to change things in the company, and basically results started to show up and soon skyrocketed. So that was the first principle of the amazing corporate liberation. Build an environment for intrinsic equality. Once you did it, you can start to move to the next step. Step number 2 that I will illustrate with 2 insurance companies. The first insurance company, it's simply a bureaucratic nightmare. Just to process a claim, they had this process in place. The first person would open the envelope. The second person would unfold the claim. The third person would stamp the claim. It would go on and on and on for 55 steps until they would send the check to the customer. Now, to contrast, let me, by the way, the people you imagine were stuck in their jobs, no hope, no room to growth, 40% turnover in that company. Now let me contrast it with another company. That company launched, it's also an insurance company, they launched a most ambitious corporate educational program in the United States. At any given point, 1/3 of their employees were enrolled in either training or educational program, including college education delivered by local colleges, so that 75 classrooms every evening were full with people learning. And that company, in fact, started to do things right. They grew and they reached for example, the ranks of the top customer service providers by Business Week. But you can wonder, with all these expenses in education, do they have financial results? Yes, in fact, they did. They became the 4th largest insurer in the United States. And during the financial crisis, they never lost the AAA. So what are these 2 companies? In fact, it's the same company. It's the company before and after they started to provide room for growth for their employees. And once they did it, they grew the head count by 7 times, and wait for it, they grew the asset base by 400 times. So that was the second step of the amazing corporate liberation. Build an environment for personal growth. Once you did it, you can move to the third step. The third step I will illustrate with 2 traditional foundries. They manufacture auto parts, the parts for cars. The first foundry invested a lot of money in the very sophisticated machinery that they didn't master really. And in fact, the problems with machinery didn't look as being the problem of the operators. Indeed, it wasn't. Every time when there was an issue with this machinery, an engineer would come and would tell to the guys what to do, and they had simply to put it in place. This company, in fact, never succeeded to run this machinery, and they had 20% of pieces that were rejected for bad quality. Now, to contrast, let me bring to another foundry. In this foundry, all the production is organized in mini plants, and in these mini plants, everyone knows to whom they work, what part they manufacture, for what client. In fact, they even visited them. They didn't visit them because there was kind of end of the year trips organized by HR department. They don't have HR department. They simply, when a client has an issue with their part, he calls directly to the team, and the team just takes the car and drives to the customer. They don't ask a manager, because there are no managers in this company. By the way, sometimes they drive Audi A8 limousine. For years, they were driving Audi A8 for long rides, for example, 7 hours to Volkswagen. Call them limousine-liberated operators. Now, can these unmanaged cows deliver results? Yes, it can. For 30 years, this company never had a piece rejected for bad quality. For 30 years, they never delivered late. They have 70% of the European market share for their product. And they export to China. They export to China, they export to China from Europe. Okay, now, what are these two different companies? Oh, you're so smart you think it's the same company. But these are two different companies. The first company is the one where employees were told what to do. And even if they had ideas, they never share them with engineers. The other company is called Favi, is a French company, and their employees self-direct in the teams. They decide what's the best action to take for the company. By the way, they were so successful that ended up buying their last European competitor. And you're so smart, you know who this competitor is. It's the first company that I mentioned. So now they're the same company. Okay, so that was the last principle of amazing corporate liberation. Build an environment for self-direction. So let me sum up. The first step is build an environment for intrinsic equality. The second step, build an environment for personal growth. And the third step is build an environment for self-direction. Now, when you know the 3 steps for amazing corporate liberation, now when you have the keys for a better future, decide to do something about it. Next Monday, when you look yourself at the mirror, decide how do you want to spend your day, your months, your year. Do you want to spend it with tired dogs and unhappy foxes? Or you want to spend it smiling because you can implement all your ideas and initiatives? This is your problem. This is your monkey. This is not my monkey. And I'm sure if you take a little bit of time, you'll find the solution.